Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. And I'm here with my man Mo from Knick-Ish as we co-host the Knick-Ish series with exclusive interviews from legendary New York Knicks players. All of these interviews, ladies and gentlemen, were put together by my man Mo. So, let's get my man Mo here. Mo, what's going on with you, my man? How you feeling?
What's up, Sin? How you doing, man? Thanks for having me on the show.
I appreciate you, man. I'm feeling pretty good. Listen, it is such a great thing that you've been able to get these interviews. You got John Starks, you got Allen Houston, Bernard King, and Herb Williams. I mean, there's reporters, famous reporters that would kill to get these interviews with these guys, and you were able to get them, man. That's great. That's really good. How'd you get those interviews?
Look, I have to say I got a luck. It was lucky that I got them. But I got to give credit to my co-hosts who could not be part of here. So shout out to Osama and Teddy. But full credit for this one has to go to John Starks. I was a scholarship recipient of his when I was in college, and back in June of this year, I reached out to his celebrity director, his foundation director, and I was just like, hey, like, you know me. I've been to a few of your celebrity golf tournaments. I'm a scholarship recipient. I do have a Knicks show. What's the chance that I could get a 10-minute phone interview with John Starks and just asking about the Knicks? And she's like, you know what, you can do that, but what if you do this instead? Basically, what she offered was for myself and my team co-host to go to his Celebrity Golf Classic in September, and basically, if I say a speech and talk about how I was as a scholarship recipient, what I'm doing today, and basically talk to his whole, all of his guests, most of whom were celebrities and athletes. If I can talk to them about the scholarship and how it's helped me out, we'll be able to interview 4 of the celebrities. And the 4 that we were able to pick were Allen Houston, Bernard King, Herb Williams, and John Starks himself. So I gotta give credit to John Starks for even letting me do this. We weren't sure if it'd be possible, but he really helped us out on that.
Nah, that's really really good, man. Because you know how James Dolan and the Garden is sometimes. They're really tight on giving interviews and stuff like that. So it was really nice that you've been able to get these interviews. What was
and
it
there were
like?
moments where they almost were like, no, we're not sure if you should do this. There were some Knicks PR people actually at the tournament, and we just had to finesse our way into it, and we got it done. They did have our list of questions prior, and they did have to approve it before we were able to ask them. So we couldn't ask directly on what they thought about free agency, for example, but we did what we could, and we basically got 15 to 20 minutes from each of the those legends, and each of them were awesome with answering our questions, and they were very nice.
So what was the Knick PR team like? Were they rigid? Were they right there over you? Like, okay, we're watching. We're gonna make sure that you, ask exactly the questions on, or were they just kind of cool?
Mostly they were cool. There was one woman in particular who was kind of watching. She did want to review the questions beforehand, but overall they were very cool. The director herself, Jennifer Alper is her name. I have to give her credit as well. She did review the questions beforehand too, because she wanted to make sure that she and the foundation didn't get in trouble for the questions that we were asking. But they were cool, and they sat in for maybe one interview just to make sure that we kept up with the questions, and they saw that we were good with what we were asking, and they kind of just let us and the legends be when we sat down with them. We basically did 4 interviews back to back to back, and that's how it was done.
Okay, nice. All right. Well, I want to begin with John Starks.
Mhm.
What was it like to sit down? I don't know if you watched the Knicks, got to go back and watch some of the 90s Knicks, but I'm sure you heard about John Starks and what he meant to the 90s Knicks. He was one of the guys, along with Charles Oakley, Pat Ewing, Anthony Mason, was like the heart and soul. He was one of those guys that was the heart and soul. What was it like? Just what were you thinking? How were you feeling when you sat down with him?
Well, with John Starks in particular, his persona is one that you feel like you can definitely. He's someone you can get along with, and we did sit with him for a dinner beforehand, so we got a chance to really talk to him and get comfortable with him. And afterwards, he was our last interview, and it was right after my speech, after his speech, so we were well acquainted by that point. And when we sat down with him, he was probably from the four guys, he was probably the chillest out of all of them. He was the most relaxed, and one of the questions that we asked him was actually, what does he think about the current roster and the fact that some people may say that the Garden is lacking in the toughness or the team is lacking in the toughness, and he was basically saying that the way the roster is built right now, we might see a difference. And again, mind you, this is in September, so we know how it didn't pan out how he was expecting it, or how some of us were expecting it. But for a guy like that who resonates and basically exemplifies what it means to be a New Yorker, having that grit. He's gone through a ton of hardship to even get to that point of success that he got to. And to sit next to someone like that, and I credit him all the time. He helped me get through college. I got his scholarship, and you know, John Starks, he's an amazing guy. I met him a couple of times in the past, and just sitting next to him and learning from him, he wealth of knowledge, and he just knows his basketball. We were telling him that we thought that he would have been amazing in this era. If he played right now, it would have been killing it.
I agree with you. He would have been, especially with the way the game is played today. Is not as
Yeah,
physical. There's no hand checking, and the way the 3-point game, shooting from the 3-point line today is not the same as it was back in the 90s. I mean, it's way more prevalent today. He would have excelled. He definitely would
right.
have excelled. Man,
And
man.
even with that, he still owns the Knicks record for the most threes in a season.
Right. Right. Definitely.
Would
Well,
would have been amazing.
it would have been. It really would have been amazing. I dream that we get another, somebody that has as much heart and plays the way John Starks plays. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a listen. Check out the interview.
All right, Mr. John Starks, thank you so much for coming on to Knick-Ish. Former All-Star, former Six Man of the Year, All Defensive Second Team, and most importantly, the person who helped me get to college. So I am a former recipient of the John Starks Foundation Scholarship, and diehard New York Knicks fan. So first and foremost, I want to ask you how you done this golf tournament.
It was always a special day whenever we come out here to this course, Tamarack Country Club, and like I said before in the pardon statement ending the evening, is that this course always put on a special show for us, and so today is no different. The golf and the staff here were just incredible, and golf course was in immaculate condition, and so it's always special when you get out here and play golf amongst friends, and you're playing for a cause too on top of it. So it was just a special day.
So tell us a little bit more about the foundation. I understand you started in 1994, so yeah. I'm not sure the exact month of that.
I'm not sure the exact month either. So it was my agent actually came to me and he asked me what did I want to do far as start something to give back, and I thought long and hard. It took a couple of days and thought about it, and I just kind of remember my path to where I got to and what I had to go through coming out of high school, and I had to go through the same route as most college students do. You have to apply for these grants and what have you, and so I wasn't drafted. I wasn't recruited in college because I only played 1 year of high school basketball. So that process was a long, tenuous process, as you know, like you've been through it. Yeah. And I said, you know what, this is something I want to do, give back and give, high school students a chance, like I had a chance. And so the foundation started, I want to say sometime during the in July, somewhere around in there. Possibly, it might have been. I know it wasn't during the season, but afterward. But it's been going strong for 24 years now. Going on 25th year actually. Yeah. 2019. But the golf tournament has been going strong for 24 years. So it's just worthwhile just doing something special like this.
Now, what's definitely admirable is I feel like a lot of athletes start foundations such as this towards the tail end of their career, but you started this at the prime of your career. Yeah. So, any particular reason why you decided to do it? It happens to be the year that the Knicks made the NBA Finals. So, Any
and it's probably one of the toughest years that I had, obviously because of Game 7. But outside of that, it's probably a special year because I did start the foundation during that time. And like I said, as athletes, you go through a lot to try to make it, and some have it harder than others. Obviously, I had a tough upbringing, and I went through a lot to get to a point in my life, and so I understand, what people go through and the struggles that they go through, and so a lot of foundations, athlete foundations that started around by my time, and they're no longer there. Yeah. So I've been very fortunate and blessed that I had good people like Jennifer Alfred, who's the director of my foundation, and the volunteers that come out and support the foundation, and then the sponsors, corporate sponsors, and just friends, who want to see this thing continue. And so, like I said, we've been going strong ever since.
Quarter of a century. That's amazing. It
is.
Every year you've helped college students out.
With
financial help into going to college. Absolutely, definitely. Yeah. Congratulations for hitting the course.
Hey, let me tell you something. Yeah. We turn out incredible young men and young women like yourselves that go on and do great things and remember. And like you're doing is giving back. So that's what this is all about. It's like just paying it forward. You know what I mean? And you do a great job of giving back, and so I have to commend you for what you do and seeing that.
So I know my partner here wanted to ask you a little bit about your game in particular.
We got to get to it.
Yeah, no problem.
So John, you mentioned some of those struggles really growing up, and I feel like a lot of what Knicks fans around the world love so much about watching you play is that you're just an energizer on the court. You get the game going, you get the crowd going right with you. Whether it's your athleticism, whether it's your defense, whether it's dunking on anybody, everybody loves it. One thing a lot of people surprisingly don't know is like you're the Knicks season record holder for threes made in a season, I think with 217.
Yeah.
So that really goes to show like the versatility in your game. Would you say players nowadays today, a lot of them lack that sort of all-around versatility, or would you say that in today's game it's just evolved to a point where it's focusing more on specialization and certain skills?
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys have an all-around game, but it's always been that way. You have some guys who are better on the offensive end, not so good on the defensive end. You have a guy that's great on defensive end, not so good on the offensive end. But the game has changed so much from the time I played because of the rules for the offense is much more easier, I would say, to create more offense for yourself. And so, the athletes are just gifted now, you know what I mean, with their ball handling skills and the way they can shoot the ball. Obviously, Steph Curry has brought in that new era of shooters. Everybody shooting threes, from fives all the way, from ones all the way to fives. It used to be a time where if a big man shot outside of 15 feet, he'd probably be coming to the bench, but it's not like that now. The crazy thing is like coaches encourage that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the game has evolved into that aspect, and it's not a low post game no more. You know what I mean? Back when I played, pretty much every team had big men, and so the ball went inside. Either they get double or they kick it back out, or they go one-on-one, and it's not that way no more. It's more outside, inside. You know what I mean? Guys are driving a lot more, and the lane is a lot wide open, so you see a lot more layups, and they kind of discourage the physical play now. So it's more, I guess, entertaining to fans to see that. But I know full court basketball, you know, fans like the old way that we played, physical style of basketball and fight for everything. But it's not that way no more. But I enjoy watching it. I would have loved to play in this era of basketball. Yeah, you know, I would have loved it. I would have loved it.
So yeah, it's really great to hear you talk about today's NBA in a very positive way. A lot of people love to compare eras without really realizing how different it is in both eras. So what would you say, a lot of people love to look back at the 90s Knicks that you were such a huge part of and say, hey, that's when the Garden was really rocking, that's when the Knicks were amazing. What would you say the current Knicks or the current Knicks as an organization need to do to get the Garden back to what it was in the 90s?
Well, I work for the organization, so I think we're moving in the right direction. Obviously, we didn't have some lean years, but I think Steve Mills as well as Scott Perry and Coach Fizdale are doing a tremendous job. Drafted very well this year. We brought in some good, talented free agents, some young free agents, and some veteran guys to go along with that young talent. You know, when I came in the league, I was very fortunate. I came in on Golden State team in 1988, and Chris Mullin was my veteran guy, as well as a lot of guys that was on there, and me and Mitch Richmond actually came in together. So when you're a young player, you come in the league, you want to learn from veteran guys on how to work and how to stay in the league and how to prepare yourself mentally and physically. I think Coach Fizdale as well as Scott Perry and Steve has done a good job of mixing it up with the young and the veteran guys, and because the veteran guys are going to show the young guys on how to work and what it takes in order to win and what it takes in order to stay focused. But when you have all young guys on the team, they don't understand, and you get, you know, just don't get good basketball. So I think this team that you see going to take the court this year is going to be very exciting and really going to prove some that we just not pushovers.
So while we're on the subject on today's Knicks team, there's a particular player who gave you a shout out on a recent interview, RJ Barrett, who we're so excited to see come play in for the New York Knicks. So during the interview, he mentioned John Starks, one of his favorite players. So what are your thoughts on RJ Barrett coming in?
I like RJ. I really do. I think he's hungry, first and foremost. I think he has the right mental makeup to play in New York. Most guys, when they come to the city, they get lost, but he seems like he's a very mature for his age, and you have to be that way in New York. You know, you have to stay focused. As you know, the city can take you out, you know, if you let it. So I think he understands that he has a lot on his shoulders, and but I think he wants that. He wants that pressure, and that's the first thing. You got to want the pressure. And you know, he's a hard worker. He comes from a good family. He obviously came from a good school and good coaching and Coach K. So he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. I'm looking for some great things out of him in the years to come. You know, I mean, this is obviously going to be his first year, so it's a learning experience for you when you first get in this league. But like I say, he's a hard worker, and he wants to improve in the areas that he know he needs to improve in. So I'm excited. I'm excited about this team.
He likes to keep his practices private.
Yeah.
You get a chance to take a quick peep on
I
what he's been working on?
I haven't got a chance. Unfortunately, I got a chance to meet him yet. He's been traveling. I've been traveling. So, but I'm going up to training camp, so I get a chance to meet him up there. But like I say, you know, he got a bright future ahead of him.
Absolutely. So New York actually, despite the fact that you're from Tulsa, Oklahoma, you represent what New York is really about, with that grit and grind. Now, throughout your life, especially in your early 20s, you did go through some hardship, but you really had that grit to take that extra mile and really, you know, come out successful. So, what really pushed you to come out, despite, you know, dealing with some losses or some hardships, really made you come out and then eventually become an all-star?
Well, I think it's just my upbringing and the struggles that I had to go through, as well as my family had to go through, and being from Tulsa, Oklahoma, a very sports-oriented community down there, and you had to bring your game. And when you play against your older brothers, you know what I mean, they push you to a whole other limit, as you know. And so I think the fight was just kind of instilled inside of me, through them as well as through my mother and my grandmother, watching them struggle to try to feed us and clothe us and put a roof over our head. That fight was just in there, you know what I mean? It makes you hungry. And I think once you lose that hunger, and you just kind of lose something. And so, but I always felt like I never made it. Even when my playing career was over with, I always just felt like I never made it, so it kept me hungry. Right. You know what I mean? Some guys get in here. I didn't have a couple of guys that I played with get in and get their first contract and just stop working. You know what I mean? They forgot what it took in order for them to get here. And so, that hunger was just always there. And, my older brothers, they was football players, so my playing with them made that mentality, that rough, rugged mentality. And so, but like I say, the area I grew up in was all like that. You had to, when you come to the playing field, whether it's playing football, baseball, basketball, you had to come hard.
All that's necessary to really shape you who you are today. Was there a particular memory that you have where something didn't go the way you were hoping for? How did you really respond to that?
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. It was my 6th grade coach. He didn't give me that MVP trophy.
What's his name?
I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to say that. I don't want to put him out like that. But I felt that I should have won the MVP trophy when I was in the 6th grade, and he gave it to a kid. But I'm not going to talk about why he gave it to that kid. But anyway, it really taught me something. You know what I mean? Don't get your hopes up too high about something and put everything in a piece of metal. You know what I mean? But it would have been the biggest trophy on my grandmother's mantle, and it killed me. You know what I mean? Because I would have had bragging rights over my older brothers that I had the biggest trophy on the mantle. But ever since then, I really didn't play for trophies. I always played just to win. You know what I mean? I didn't go out there to, try to go out there and win the MVP, but my goal was to go out there and compete and win for my teammates.
Now, it's funny that you brought up 6th grade. I think Alan Houston wanted us to ask you something regarding that. So I think he asked for us to ask you, do you remember something you got in trouble for when you were 10 years old?
Do I remember what I got in trouble for when I was 10 years old? I got in trouble for a lot of things. I'm not sure. He knows probably. I'm not sure. Yeah. And
also, was there a particular subject that you were really interested in, apart academic-wise, outside of basketball? Was there something that you were really into?
Well, I love numbers. You know what I mean? Obviously, playing basketball, everything was dealt with numbers. So probably math. I thought I was pretty good in math. But I also like history too. You know what I mean? Big history type of guy, and I like, I used to look at Wild Kingdom. I don't know if you guys
That's a book, right?
No, it's not. That was a show. Wild Kingdom was a show. Yeah, y'all too young for that. But it used to the animal show. It used to come on. So I still even watch a lot of animal shows today. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And speaking of extracurriculars, if you're not spending time with the Knicks or not spending time with your organization, what can people find you doing in your free time?
Playing golf.
I was just about to say. And what else?
You already know. Probably playing golf. Well, I try to keep myself in shape. Obviously, I was telling people about the total bodyboard, which I work on quite a bit to try to keep myself in shape. As you get older, man, it's just the hardest thing. You know what I mean? Your level of energy goes down, and so I try to make sure that mentally I stay focused on that, because health is so important. You know what I mean? As you move through life, we try to encourage young people, make sure that they stay healthy at a young age and try to keep themselves right, because a healthy body creates a healthy mind, as you know. And so, I just do those little things right there and just try to live life.
Well, we actually do have a lot of listeners from all ages, so if you want to add a little bit more about Total Body Workout, because we did get a little bit of a demo. It was amazing what they were doing.
Yeah, well, Total Body Board is a board that was created by Charles Austin, who's a gold medalist Olympic high jumper, and he created this board because he went through a knee injury where doctors didn't give him a chance to come back and high jump. This was back in 1992, 93, and he used these resistant band training back then to rehab his knee and get him back to, competing again. And so one night he said he just woke up in the middle of the night and just this thought came in his mind about this board with resistant training on it. And that day he got up and created a model out of plywood and put some straps to it. And that's the first total body board. And so then he created this incredible piece of equipment that you don't need a lot of weights or anything to deal with. It's great for muscle training, muscle rehabbing. We have professional teams, basketball, football, baseball teams using it, as well as we have physical therapy places using it, and colleges and high schools, and just individuals using it. So we think this is like the equipment of the future. You know what I mean? That can cut, your cost in half, your time in half for us working out. As you can see, when we did the training on the guy,
poor guy.
he was like 30. Yeah. I'm telling you, about 15-minute workout, you probably wouldn't get 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
But 15 cuts your time. Most people don't want to go to the gym and spend an hour or two in the gym. You know what I mean? If you can go in there and get a good 15 solid minutes of work in, it's the best.
Well, thanks so much, John. Before we let you go, we did want to play a quick game with you. Could you do a rapid fire?
Okay.
So the rules of this game are we're going to ask you a few questions, and you have about a few seconds to answer.
Okay, no problem.
Cool. Shouldn't be too hard, but we'll get
started.
Our first question. In 3 words, how would you describe your hot girl summer?
Say it again.
In 3 words, how would you describe your hot girl summer? Hot girl summer.
Hot girl summer. What you mean by that?
So the background around that
married,
is... I got it open in like 7 years.
Explain that to me.
The background behind that is there was a song that came out called Hot Girl Summer, and basically it's a bit about girls or guys or anyone just being themselves, really owning themselves this summer, and just like really going out there and being proud of who they are.
Oh, okay. In 3 words: confident, good looking. I can't say the other word, but
all right, we move on to the
okay. So let's say you're going back into another Game 7 finals.
Yeah.
You choose one song to listen to really get yourself going, pumped up, or also relax. So what song would you go with?
Man, that's a good one. Yeah, I haven't heard of this song, but it was probably George Clinton's Flashlight. Flashlight. You can listen.
I'll listen to it. We'll listen to it. In your honor, we'll listen to it.
Awesome. All right. If you were in the Avengers, what would your superpower be?
Oh man, probably X-ray vision.
Ooh, X-ray vision. That's the first tonight.
Yeah, X-ray vision.
Why X-ray vision?
Because I want to see who's coming at me. I want to see who's behind these walls.
So that's what MSG does see.
Yeah.
Or was that cameraman? So the final rapid fire question that we have for you, our brand name is Knick-Ish. So what does Knick-Ish mean to you?
Knick-Ish means loyalty. Really all in with the Knicks. Just like this fan base here in New York is just incredible. I've never been on a team, and I've been on a couple teams in the NBA where I'm going talking to a fan, and the first fan saying, "How we doing?" They don't say how you doing. It's how we doing. You know what I mean? Knicks fans are invested in this team. Everybody thinks this is a football, city, but it's actually a basketball city by far, and that's what Knick-Ish means to me.
Awesome, that's amazing. That we think we always say we as in we're the Knicks too.
Yeah.
I'll talk to anybody. I'll be like, we're some big things this year.
Exactly.
So that's pretty much it as far as rapid fire questions go.
Yeah.
So before we let you go, we do have one more quick game of rock paper scissors.
Okay.
Now with some quick stakes. If I lose, I'll take your luggage back to your car. I saw it right there. But if we win, we're hoping you could take one of these hats and just give it your quick autograph. So
awesome.
We taught Bernard King how to play earlier tonight.
Okay, so
all right, so rock, paper, scissors. All right. So I'll do it the third one.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors.
So you want scissors?
Oh, yeah.
Is that a single scissor?
Yes. But I'm glad to have it anyway.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, Mr. John Starks, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, guys.
It's an honor.
Thank you.
You're one of the most beloved Knicks in history. Everybody has such a soft spot for you, and we're so honored to have you on our show.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for what you do too.
Thank you.
Hey Mo, man, you did a really good job with that interview right there.
Appreciate it.
And I know it had to be an honor sitting there with John Starks. I know when I was at one of the group basketball games with the NBK crew, I walked past John Starks and I was like, "What is John Starks right here?" You know, my son, you know, coming back from upstate New York or coming from upstate New York to New York City, we would cross over the Tappan Zee Bridge and you can see Manhattan as you're crossing over the bridge. And he'd always point and say, "Dad, that's where John Starks lives. That's where John Starks lives." So it had to be an amazing experience. You did a great job.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can check out Mo on Knick-Ish. There should be a link coming across your screen right now. Click on that link. Make sure you check out his YouTube channel. Mo, you want to give us a little bit more information or take us out of here?
Yeah, man. To all listeners, thank you. And follow us on Instagram and Twitter too. It's at Knick-Ish Show. We're updating that regularly, and we have a website that's in the works. But yeah, for now, hit that link. Follow us on YouTube, subscribe, and appreciate nothing but Knicks and Sim for getting Knick-Ish on the show, man.
No problem, man. And make sure you check out the next interview in the series. It's Bernard King coming really soon. So look out for, look out for the notification. Subscribe right now so you'll be notified. Peace.
Peace.